Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Inspired and Empowered Living TV show and podcast. We are live Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern on talk4tv.com, w4wn.com, and my YouTube channel. And today we will continue to talk about creative freedom, tapping in and unlocking your limitless potential, part 2. So today we're going to be talking more about how to unlock that limitless potential of yours, and every single one of you has it. And you'll learn, last week we talked about breaking through the blocks. Today we're going to be talking more about expanding your creative flow and igniting it, trusting your unique ideas, and being able to step into abundance. It's your time to break free, create boldly, and thrive. So, and you can join live in the chat and ask questions. And as always, you know I love answering your questions in the chat. So, like I said, last week we talked about breaking through and breaking free of blocks that would keep you from the creative flow. And today, let's talk more about what can you do to tap into that creative energy. And the first thing that I really want to support you in doing is looking at your mindset. It's looking at what are you thinking and what are you feeling, and being open to creativity is being curious. It's being childlike. When you're in the creative flow, or when you're having fun and you're in the energy of fun and playing is actually a really great creative flow opportunity. And learning to be curious and is part of allowing yourself to expand into that creative energy. And other ways to tap into the creative, maybe you normally don't do, is starting to shift perhaps the way you look at things, trying spontaneous things, trying new things, doing things that would be different than you normally do. And sometimes it's taking a break. Let's say you are in the process of trying to solve a problem, or you're feeling stuck. And it may be stuck in your life, or it may be stuck trying to solve a business issue or a business problem, or trying to get an intuitive hit around what you should or what would be the best course of action. And what I would suggest is sometimes you need to take a break, a time out. All right, time out. Because if you're trying really hard to solve the problem and you're thinking, and you're in thinking mode, you won't be able to solve the problem in a creative way. But if you start thinking out of the box, start being spontaneous. So maybe you need to go outside and go in nature. Now, not only go in nature, but what happens is, you know how there's a saying, stop and smell the roses, right? Well, what if you were not only stopping to smell them, but looking at them and looking at them from a different perspective and looking at those roses from the shape, the color, the fine lines. And imagine you were an alien coming from, I'm playing with you. You're an alien coming from another planet and you've never seen a rose. And you're looking at it and you're examining it. Or maybe you're a child and this is the first time you've ever seen a rose. And be careful not to touch the thorns, but you look at that rose in a totally new way, a new experience, allowing yourself to see the flowers and their geometric designs and the shapes of things and the shapes of plants and trees. If you notice, everything in nature has a design. And those designs are geometrically shaped. Nature itself is creative. And looking at being in nature. So let's say you're trying to solve a problem and then you say, you know what, let me go take a walk. But not only take the walk, really stop and look at the geometric shapes. Look at things that you may never have seen or noticed. Everyday objects, even in your room or your office. It's looking at things and perceiving things from a whole new perspective. So being able to be visual and seeing things from a new perspective. And suppose you're outside and start hearing. What are the sounds that you're hearing? Are you in nature where you're in a park and you can hear kids playing or birds going by, tweeting, chirping? Or do you hear sirens in the distance, depending on where you live? So listen to the sounds. Make it a full-bodied experience. And then even smell the smells. What is it that you're smelling? Can you smell the flowers? Do you smell trees? Maybe you're taking a walk in a very woodsy area. Allowing yourself to be in the experience, perhaps in a whole new way that you've never allowed yourself to before. What would that be like? And I will share with you, it definitely can help open your creativity. And then listen to some music. This is another possibility. Let's say you need to take a break. Put on music. Maybe put on music that you absolutely love, because music actually changes your mood. It actually changes your brain. But what if you were to change the music you listen to? So instead of listening to pop, rock, maybe try classical. What would that be like? And then, what if you were to start moving? Sometimes you need to move your body and dance and move the energy that can totally and completely help you change your whole experience. What would that be like? And then I'm gonna go through some other exercises that can open you up creatively that can help you. But before I do, maybe you need to explore art and literature if you've never really have, and you want to understand how do the great artists like Leonardo da Vinci or Da Vinci, am I, or just allowing, or Van Gogh, or just really the great artists or the musicians. Study them, understand how do they do what they do. The literature, great literature, and learn how to become more mindful. Really learning how to become more present in your experience. When I talked about stopping to see the geometric shapes and designs in nature, that's actually being mindful. It's being in the present moment. It's coming into that present time. Now, what if you were to do some writing and have a writing exercise for a breakthrough? So let's say you're feeling stuck about some issue, whether it's your life, whether it's your business or your work, and ask yourself, what excites you? And it may not be totally on the topic at all, and that's okay. Totally okay. What excites you about your life? What is fun? And what if you were to look at the problem from a totally different perspective? What if you were to take a step back and imagine being an observer? Imagine being an observer and you're observing you. What would you, and you could be writing about this, or you can even imagine talking into your phone. What would you be saying about yourself? Sometimes what happens is when you step out, and you may actually want to step away. Like, for example, what I would do with people is I would have them, let's say I'm sitting on the couch, okay? Sitting on the couch, sitting in a chair, and you are getting up and you're going to go opposite across the room. And you're going to look at yourself as the observer. And what would you just observe? Observe you. What would you be saying about the issue, the problem? As the observer, you're going to take it into third person. Like, she or Nancy's having a really hard time with this issue. She's feeling really stuck and not knowing what to do. And what if she tried this perspective and started thinking about it in this way? Now, I'm giving an example, and as the observer, you would be observing yourself in a totally new way. So that would be one way that you can perhaps look at the problem from another point of view, the observer point of view. Another possibility is if you're feeling stuck and not sure, think of someone you really admire. Think of a person that is a role model for you. Now, it could be somebody who is in your life and you know them personally, or it could be someone like Steve Jobs or Oprah. They're innovators. They definitely have thought out in the box. And because they have, it led them to success. And so, who is your role model? Who is someone that you totally are like, oh, I love them. It could be a singer, a musician, it could be an actor, an actress. It could be someone in politics. It could be someone in art, in literature. It could be someone who's a writer. Anything. And especially if you have a certain type of problem, like, for example, if you are someone that's dealing with a health issue, then imagine who is someone you admire who's really healthy and exhibits so much health, and you love that they're healthy and they're active, and imagine being them, stepping into their shoes. Or then let's say you're dealing with a financial issue. Imagine someone like Susie Orman, who is a financial analyst helper. And what would Susie have to say about your financial issue? Or let's say it's a relationship issue. What would someone who is a relationship expert say about your problem or issue? So imagine now, and I said this last week, your imagination makes you different than the animal kingdom. Your imagination is what spurs that inspiration, and inspiration spurs imagination. And it's through your imagination that you can and will overcome the challenge and the problem from another point of perspective. So imagine being your role model and asking, how would Oprah solve it? How would Steve Jobs solve it? And, oh, excuse me. And how would your role model solve it? So I invite you to look at, and you can write about it, you can speak about it, and allow that to happen. Now, another way is having creative problem solving, and ask yourself, what would be a completely unconventional way to approach this? So perhaps you've been trying the conventional approach. Suppose you've been saying, this is what they're saying, or whatever, in a totally unconventional approach. What if you to ask yourself, and I also want you to know, and here's where that superconscious mind, that universal consciousness comes in to help you. So, and the quick Psych 101 is your conscious mind is listening. Thank you, conscious mind. Your subconscious mind is the part of you that's reacting, that gets triggered, that's feeling stuck or feeling not motivated or stuck in that problem. And that is because it's coming from probably the past. And you have recorded every moment from the moment you were conceived to present time. And what happens is you have these limiting beliefs, and those limiting beliefs stop you from being able to perhaps get the creative solutions and also the emotions. If you're stuck in fear or anger or frustration or shame or guilt, that will keep you from being able to get the creative solution. So, what if, and then you called on in your superconscious mind, what I call your superconscious mind, is your higher self, that wise, unconditional, loving part of you. And it loves you unconditionally. And it's there. Every single one of you has a higher self. And then you have your soul, that light and love that is who you are, and the characteristics. And you have the universe. You have God, or higher power. And you have angels and guides and beings of light. And they're all here to help you to move into creative thinking. So, what if you were to ask, what would my higher self do to solve this issue? What would my higher self say? And what would my higher self feel? So, your higher self would probably be feeling maybe there's peace, or maybe there's love, or maybe there's joy, maybe there's excitement. So, what would your higher self feel? And then you want to, how would your higher self act, behave? What action can you take? What action would your higher self guide you to take? And what if you had unlimited resources and were able to solve this problem from those unlimited resources? What would those resources be? What would you do in order to solve this problem? So allow yourself to think out of the box. And ask yourself, is there a dream or a goal that you've given up on? And ask your higher self, or ask that role model, what would it do? And write or speak or allow the information to unfold. And success stories. Did you know that J.K. Rowling, or Rowling, I don't know exactly how she says her name, she was rejected by 12 publishers before Harry Potter became a worldwide phenomenal sensation. She didn't give up. And so, what I want you to all know is that you may feel like you're at an impasse, but it doesn't mean you are. And every creative person, every inventor has kept going, kept going, kept going. Success doesn't mean that it comes easy. Success is really never failing. Not never failing, because we all fail, okay? Just to let you know, sometimes you fail more than you succeed. It's never giving up. It's keeping on going and keeping on. And that is the most important thing to remember. That whatever you are project or creative solution you're looking for, it's there. I want you to know that it is there. And it is there beyond anything. And that creative power in the universe is there for you to help you to keep moving forward and to be unstoppable and to keep moving towards your greatest potential. Like other ones, Steve Jobs, he thought out of the box, and he was this amazing innovator. And Oprah wouldn't stand for regular broadcasting. She wanted to do what she wanted to do, and look at who she is and who she's become. That's what happens. It's not giving up, it's keeping going, it's being persistent, and it's trusting your intuition, following those impulses, thinking out of the box. All of those are important pieces. So the meditation that I created can support you in thinking or receiving out of the box information, your intuition. And so go to, and what the meditation will do will help you clear your energy, connect more deeply, and connect with your higher self. You want to know or feel or sense? Get the meditation, connect with your higher self, and then allow yourself to receive the intuitive information that wants to come through. So go to inspired and empoweredliving.com, inspired and empoweredliving.com, the name of the show, /meditation. MEDITATION. So inspired and empoweredliving.com /meditation. And if you don't like to meditate and you're not sure, then you can try the PDF and you can read it through and explore. Check it out. Allow your creative potential to flow. And Rebel, please put it in the chat. So, thank you, Rebel. So, let's talk about possibilities, some journal prompts, because writing is a way to unblock. Writing is a way to unblock the blocks. And so let's talk about some ways to unblock you. So one of the first things for you to remember is to recognize your creative power. And what is one idea that you have had but hesitated to act on? Excuse me. Allergies happening. And why do I think? Okay, we got a question from Charles. So Charles said, do we ever reach full potential? So Charles, that is an important question. And what I really want to support you is, can we reach our full potential? What does that look like or feel like? To me, that higher self that I'm talking about is that part of us that has reached the full potential. Now, can we, and it's also, if you think about enlightenment, that is moving towards your full potential. Can you reach your full potential? That is actually a very interesting question. And perhaps it's moving towards your potential. It's unleashing that part of you that is tapped into that greater being that you are. The stats are, it's, I, I remember hearing this many, many years ago, and it's still kind of really true, that we use less than 10% of our brain and our mind. And what that means is there's all this potential for us to keep moving forward. And so, can we reach our full potential? The most important thing is, and I honestly, I can't speak for the everyone, because maybe there are people who have. But I also believe that even people who are living the dream or living their destiny, we are unlimited beings. And so there's always more. And so as beings on this planet, I feel that we're here to move towards our full potential. Now, maybe another way of asking the question is, because before we come into the planet, I believe that we set things up. We set up our obstacles and our challenges, the things we need to overcome. And we also set up our mission, our purpose, our life purpose, what we're here to accomplish. And so people who have accomplished their mission, now, have they reached their full potential in the accomplishment? Maybe. But to me, reaching full potential is something that it's tapping, it's learning. Maybe I'm going to define this in a different way. Reaching your potential is being able to tap into the unlimited you, that greater you, the super conscious mind that I talked about, your higher self, your soul, who is unlimited, who is limitless, who is vast. And as you tap into that infinite potential, you are moving towards your full potential. And everybody's different. So, do we ever reach our full potential? I think that we're moving towards it. And if you have accomplished your destiny or mission, then maybe that was, and I'm putting this in air quotes, okay, for those of you who are listening to the um, on the podcast, I'm putting it in air quotes because because we're infinite beings, I don't know if we ever reach our full potential because it's always unlimited. However, we may reach our full potential in this lifetime. And most of us are on the journey and in the process of becoming and moving towards that full potential. Most people, so I'm defining it in two ways. So, full potential is really being able to tap into that unlimited self and being all that you can be. And it's really being able to tap into that self, becoming that self as much as you can in this lifetime. And I think that it's a journey. So that's a really interesting question, Charles. So thank you for asking that, because I really feel that we're in the journey of reaching that. Every single one of us are in the journey, no matter where you are in your journey. I really believe that each person is striving to move towards their full potential. Now, there are some people who are so shut down, or they've had a lot of trauma, that it's really hard for them to move forward. And that's why you need to heal and do the clearing work that I talk about. And and but I do believe that most of us are on the journey of moving towards our potential at different rates, at different speeds. And remember, I have talked about it's not how fast you go. It's taking one step at a time, even the baby steps. In fact, the baby steps can get you there sometimes faster than the bigger ones. Because if you're a person that needs to take it little by little by little, so that you don't shut down or get overwhelmed and shut down, then you take the baby steps. And if you go into the big steps or the quantum leaps, it can, depending on the person, it may shut you down. Now, each one of you are learning to know yourself better. So it's understanding, what do you need? How big are the steps you need to take that will move you forward towards that unlimited full potential? And again, we're all in the journey of moving toward our full potential. So hopefully, Charles, that was helpful. And if you have any other questions around that, let me know. So another one, overcoming that self-doubt. And we were talking about that last week. So what kind of fears are, writing about it, what kind of fears and doubts come up when you think about moving towards your full potential, or when you think that you're moving towards or want to move towards that creative dream of yours? And I really want you to know the dreams and the visions of when you were a kid, or those daydreams, can be part of that creative potential that exists within you. And when you think about an idea that has come to you, how what do you think is the reason that creative idea came to you? And know that it came to you for a reason. And I really want to support you in doing the journaling and asking, what step or steps can I make or do? If it's a small, even a baby step, what baby step can I take to move towards this dream, or to move towards my potential? Ask yourself that. So I invite you to do that. And really learning how to validate and trust yourself and trust your uniqueness, and trust your intuition, trust that part of you that knows. It's learning how to trust. It's learning to trust yourself in whole new ways. And if you're not sure how you trust, it's asking yourself, what step or what can I do to trust myself more? What step can I take to trust myself more? So that you are moving more towards that trust. Because your intuition is you tapping into that creative potential. It's you tapping into that greater self. I really believe our intuition is God's gift to us. It's God's gift to us so that we can learn to navigate our lives better. What step or steps can you take to move towards that potential and to that creative flow, and to start trusting yourself, trusting your process, and trusting your instincts? I invite you to ask yourself all of those. So tune in next week for more inspired and empowered living. And I wish you, and we're live Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern on talk4tv.com, w4wn.com, and my YouTube channel. And you can find the podcast on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora, Apple, and many more. And I wish you all an inspired and empowered day and night, and an inspired and empowered week. Have a great one, everybody. Bye for now.